Well, we're going to have to start off with a Thursday night football recap because Prescott had to move their game to Thursday night due to a lack of officials. Of course, last 2 weeks have been pretty rough for the Badgers with losses at Mojave and Coconino, but it looks like being home gave them the right motivation because they put together 4 pretty good quarters against a depleted Flagstaff team. Well, how depleted were they? Well, they had to go with their third-string quarterback because their first and second stringers were injured. In fact, their first-string quarterback, Chase Brown, he's out for the season with an ACL injury. Then they were also missing one of their top skill guys due to an injury. And Prescott, they took full advantage of that, going up at halftime 20-7. But Flag actually made a game of it in the third quarter and got to within a touchdown of the Badgers. Prescott, however, they pulled away, and they got the 30-13 win on Thursday night. Still got to kind of remind myself to say Thursday when it comes to that game. Anyway, the Geo Storm, Gio Puglisi, and James Hefferon, they split quarterback duties for Prescott, and both of them did very well in the game. Hefferon, he had 3 touchdown passes, and Puglisi, he had 1. Nick Phillips had 2 touchdown passes, and KMT, Kenny Miller-Terry, he also had 2 touchdown receptions, along with an interception on defense. Gunnar Parra, he recorded 13 tackles. So a much-needed win for Prescott, who are on the road again next Friday. Yes, we're back to Friday football next week. And they are going to be taking on a very good Yonker team. And because Prescott played Thursday night, I actually got to take in another local football team on Friday. Went over to Bradshaw Mountain, who hosted Buckeye, and all of us in the booth expected a very competitive game. The Hawks, they actually have a very talented team. But when you have problems holding on to the ball and you turn it over 6 times, and 4 of those times were inside the red zone, well, kind of hard to win, especially when you do it against a really good team like Bradshaw Mountain, who's ranked number 3 in the first PowerPoint rankings of the season. And, of course, the Bears capitalized on all those Buckeye mistakes, and they got the Deke 56-13. Kylan Jackson had 3 touchdowns, including a 70-yard punt return for a score. And also in the process, he tied David Moran's all-time career touchdown record at Bradshaw. Michael Sanford, he threw for 4 touchdown passes, including 2 to Caden Dabney. Antonio Valenzuela, he had 2 interceptions. Jonte Jones, he had a 72-yard touchdown run. So the Bears are 6-2 overall, 4-0 in Grand Canyon region play, and are on a 5-game winning streak. Elsewhere in the local gridiron last night, Chino Valley, they lost to Fountain Hills 46-30. Unfortunately, no stats were available for that game prior to airtime. The Cougars, they were 4-1 at one point in the season, but now they are 4-5. Also, Mare, they lost to Duncan last night, 42-22. Uriah Romero, he had 3 touchdowns. And believe it or not, that is Mare's last game of 2025. They end the season at 1-6. So, man, we're already at a point where we're talking about season finales here for fall sports. So there you have it. That is our local, Thursday and Friday football recap. Now, going on to the weird world of sports, y'all remember the Phillies, Karen, right? Well, apparently, we now have a Brewers Karen. So earlier this week, the Dodgers and Brewers, they're playing at Miller Park in Milwaukee. Actually, do they still call it Miller Park? Don't like I really care anymore. Anyway, guy named Ricardo Fasado was there, a small business owner and a Dodger fan. And the Brewer fans around him, well, they got all jacked when their team got the first run of the game. Then L.A. scored a couple of runs, and Fasado said to the fans around him, "Hey, why so quiet? Why so quiet?" Normal trash talk. I mean, I've been to games where I've said stuff like that, and I've been on the receiving end of stuff like that. Just part of the fan experience. Well, this one woman who, I kid you not, she seriously had the stereotypical haircut. Well, she was not amused by Mr. Fasano, and she let him know about it. Then, I think you can say she went over the line with this one because she said to Fasano, "I'm going to call ICE on you." And actually, Fasano just laughed it off and he said, "Okay, go ahead. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a veteran of 2 wars. ICE ain't going to do nothing to me." Now, you're probably thinking, "Oh, that's pretty bad." It gets worse because Brewers Karen actually took a swing at Fasano. So now we're in the realm of assault. Then it gets even crazier because Brewers Karen, well, she did what all Karens do. She spoke to the manager. Or, well, actually, in this case, she spoke to security, and Fasano and one of his friends actually got ejected from the stadium. And Fasano said in an interview when he asked security, he's like, "Hey, why are you throwing us out?" He claims the security guards told him it was because they're Dodgers fans. Sorry, I don't think that's a very good reason. I mean, I've gone to Diamondbacks games dressed in Phillies gear, and nobody threw me out. So anyway, even though it's like, I don't know where these security guards got their training from. Maybe they're taking their cue from the British police, where their policy is to punish the victim and let actual criminals go. And yeah, and also, I mean, I can also tell you that along with Fasano, actually, the Brewers, Karen, also got ejected. And apparently, along with being ejected from the stadium, she also had Milwaukee police contact her for disorderly conduct and public intoxication. I'm not 100% sure if she actually got charged with that, but the police were certainly talking to her. So both people are now banned from the stadium, I don't know, I guess forever, which I think is, got to say it cleanly here, I think that's Bravo Sierra on Fasano's part, because he was the victim in all this. Now, because of this, the Brewers Karen, her name is actually Shannon, let's see if I can pronounce this right, Shannon Koblarsik. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, she lost her job. Wait till you hear what her job was. She was actually a lawyer for a recruiting group based in Milwaukee. And, well, she's not a lawyer for them anymore because she got canned. Oh, but it gets even worse. And you're probably going to say, "John, how can this get any worse?" Well, she was also on the board for the local chapter of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was actually working with kids, and she's acting like this in public? Well, thankfully, she resigned from the board, but between the words and the assault and, well, getting this poor guy thrown out of the game, thrown out of the stadium, can't really blame her employer for letting her go because that's not exactly a good look to have one of your employees act like that, and then you got to deal with the resulting blowback. And, it just looks like, this Karen, it looks like I'm going to estimate maybe she's in her late 30s, maybe she's in her 40s. By this point in your life, you ought to know better. You're supposed to act like a responsible adult. But I guess for some people, they just never learned maturity or common sense or even common decency. Maybe that's the reason why there are so many channels on YouTube dedicated to people losing their bleep on body cam police videos. Anyway, folks, 928-541-1016, number to call here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. Again, 928-541-1016. When we come back, well, enough talk about crazy Karens. We're actually going to talk with some well-behaved and responsible and talented young ladies here because I've got Jezebel Rivas, Micah Gardner, and Mackenzie Wright from the Yavapai College volleyball team. So we're going to be talking about their season on the other side of the break. We'll be back right after this. All right, folks, we are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you. In the studio with me today, I have three members of the Yavapai College volleyball team. I've got Jezebel Rivas, I've got Micah Gardner, and I've got Mackenzie Wright. Ladies, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So, Jezebel, let me start with you. Move the microphone a little closer there to you. Jezebel, things have been going really well for Yavapai College. Yeah, you lost last night to Eastern Arizona. Looks like you gave them a heck of a battle, but before then, you had a 6-match winning streak going on. So, what were some of the reasons for all that success for Yavapai here in the month of October?
I think number one is we really did our studying off the court, and we watched film, we made a game plan, and when that game came to play, we executed the game plan very well.
Okay. And Micah, what have been some of the things that have really impressed you about the way Yavapai played during that 6-match winning streak you were on?
I would say definitely the resilience of the team, not giving up and refusing to lose, I think was just a really big attitude for us in those games, and it really showed in our play.
All right. And Mackenzie, again, going back to those 6 wins in a row there, what were some of the things that you felt really impressed you by the way the ladies were playing?
The one thing that I really liked about the girls, not necessarily on the court in our games, but in our practice, is we didn't treat it as if we had a 6-game winning streak. We were hungry every time we came to practice, and we were dialed in and locked in on the game plan that Coach had us, and just really understanding that what we do is bigger than us.
And Jezebel, I think probably one of the more impressive wins you got here on Wednesday, you took on Mesa College. Mesa's actually ranked number 9 in NJCAA Division II, and you got a 3-0 sweep over them. I think at the early part of the game, a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of struggle, but then you ladies really took control. So how good was it to not just defeat a team, but sweep a team the caliber of the Mesa Thunderbirds?
It actually felt so great. I felt like we just played all as one, and we all equally wanted it so bad. Just a easy, clean sweep.
Yeah. And Micah, I think one of the things that impressed me the most was it was just really a total team effort. It's not like you had to rely on one or two players. Like everyone was out there on the court. Everyone was making a contribution. So talk about that.
I completely agree with what you said. There was no one person who was just kind of on by themselves. I think everyone was doing their job so that everyone could do their job even better. And I think we were just complimenting each other perfectly that game.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie, I think to me probably the most impressive part of, because I was at Wednesday's match, probably the most impressive part there was just the play up on the front row. You had so many players up there. I mean, just throwing up blocks. I think Hedy, your player from Hungary. By the way, I actually have some of my family members actually immigrated from Hungary to the U.S. way back when. But, Hedy and a few others, I mean, I think Destiny was another one. They did such a great job throwing up block after block after block. So just talk about, how big that was in Wednesday's win.
Definitely very impressive. I mean, in practice, we get on to them because they have a really important job. And so seeing that come through and all of get put together in the game was really, really nice to see, because they do have a very important role. And when it's good, like how you saw on Wednesday, it gets good. Like the team can get fired up. You can set your defense around it. As a setter, you start to see more balls in the middle of the court, and you get to make decisions, and you have different options. So it's really nice, and the game's more exciting that way when you get to be more deceptive in what you're doing and have more control.
Yeah. And Jezebel, one of the things before that 6-match winning streak, a bit of a struggle for Yavapai throughout September. You were on a bit of a losing streak there. So what were some of the things that you ladies had to do in order to break out of that funk and then go on this nice, successful run?
To get out of that slump, we definitely had to just come into practice every day, just keep working on what we needed to do, what we wanted to execute when it came to game time, and eventually it clicked, and we went on that 6-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm. And Micah, going back to earlier in the season, you started off the season with a couple of tournaments. One you went down to Arizona Western. Another one you hosted yourself, and actually that Yavapai invite you did very well. I think it was I think you finished with a 3-1 record. So that early in the season, especially with so many new players on the team, how big of a learning experience was that tournament for Yavapai?
It was definitely a learning experience. I think it helped us kind of understand not only where everyone is at on the team, but what we needed to focus on more as a team to become more cohesive and working together and just really having playing clean volleyball together as one, opposed to a whole bunch of girls who just got here who are trying to learn each other. So I think it really helps us towards the beginning of the season just really get to know each other a little bit quicker.
Yeah. And Mackenzie, for yourself, now this is your freshman season. Your very first year of college volleyball, you're thrown into the starting setter's role. So what was that like for you, having that kind of responsibility fall on your shoulders so quickly in your college career?
It's very exciting. For me personally, I treat it as if I've been there before. I haven't ran a college team before at the college level pace, but I have set before. I have ran a 5-1 before. I have done those certain things. So as myself, just keeping the confidence and trusting my training has been a really big part of that process. And just also, Coach says this all the time, but understanding what the girls around you need and hearing them when they speak, that's one thing that I've been really working on. And so as I've been doing that and listening to what my teammates need from me personally has helped me with that role because I can get the best out of them.
Okay. And Jezebel, I guess maybe we should say welcome back to Jezebel Rivas here, because you unfortunately were sidelined all of last year. Same injury I mentioned with Chase Brown, the Flagstaff quarterback. You unfortunately had one of those darn ACL tears. So what was that like for you last year, having to sit on the sidelines with that injury? Maybe even wondering, am I ever going to get out on the court again?
It definitely was tough. I would say it was more tough for me mentally than physically. Physical, it's always been pretty easy, and I think my body bounced back pretty well from that injury. I got back on the court quicker, and then once I started touching the court and seeing my progress, it definitely got easier. But yeah, it was I would say, a long road, but we're on the end side of it now, and it feels great to just play.
Yeah. So when you got out there for your first couple of games, like you said, a lot of it was more mental than physical for you. Was it kind of like rumbling around in the back of your mind? Am I going to make another move? Am I going to make another jump? Am I going to re-injure my knee? Was that going through your head?
It definitely was in the back of my mind, just because of the way I got injured. I would say it kind of just like crashing into a teammate is kind of like mental. Like, oh, do I go for that? Do I really want to run into her? And just it kind of stopped me, but in the end, I really got over that fear, and now I feel like way more free in my game, just throwing my body out there, to be honest.
Yeah. And so, Micah, this is your sophomore season with Yavapai. And as a sophomore, what I guess, added responsibilities did you have going into this season, especially, again, like I said, with a whole bunch of new players like Mackenzie coming into the squad?
I think this season for me, just going into my sophomore year, I was really trying to focus on being a leader for the team, and just really trying to bring these girls together with us having so many international girls, and just a bigger team of freshmen. So we're all new, first time in college, away from parents, away from family, those kinds of things. So just really trying to be someone that these girls can lean on, and just leading by example and being a good example and leader for the girls.
Yeah. Like you said, you have a whole lot of international flavor on the team this year. Yeah, I mentioned about Hedy from Hungary. You've also got a player from the Netherlands there, home of some of my all-time favorite metal bands like Epica, Within Temptation. I think you also got one from Bolivia, one from Colombia, one from Turkey, a couple from Trinidad and Tobago. Michael, what's that kind of like? Because obviously they come with like different cultures, different backgrounds. What's that kind of like trying to get all of that together in like one cohesive team?
For the first few weeks, it was a little difficult with accents and just different cultures, and especially volleyball cultures. Volleyball is, yes, it's the same, but it's different everywhere. So I think that was our hardest kind of like shift, was just getting us all on the same page of volleyball here at YC and what YC volleyball is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say was
Yeah.
probably the hardest thing.
Yeah, because I know, like even like as another example, like hockey, because I know it's like hockey, it's just like five guys out there, and you're shooting around a puck and trying to score. But it's like, yeah, but then when you look at the European game, more speed and finesse. The North American game, more like power and grit. So yeah, definitely, it's like I can kind of see where there'd be like, yeah, we're all playing the same sport, but there's a lot of again, like you said, different cultures, different ways to play that y'all got to get on the same page for. All right, folks. Well, we're coming up to our break here on Tri-City Sports Roundup. In the studio with me today, I've got Jezebel Rivas, Micah Gardner, and Mackenzie Wright from the Yavapai College volleyball team. We'll talk to them more on the other side of the break. But before we go to break, time to see who shined over the past 7 days as we present the Tri-City Sports Roundup 3 Stars of the Week. Starting with the ladies. Our number 3 star is Emma Barber of the Embry-Riddle volleyball team. She recorded 17 kills and 14 digs in the Lady Eagles' 3-2 win over La Sierra Tuesday. The number 2 star is Morgan Go-Go Gossick of the Bradshaw Mountain Flag football team. She threw 3 touchdown passes in the Lady Bears' 27-0 rout of Mojave on Tuesday. And our number 1 star of the week is Avery Bradshaw of the Chino Valley volleyball team. She registered 38 assists and 4 aces in the Lady Cougars' 3-1 triumph over Highland Prep. Before we go on the guys, I definitely want to send get well wishes out to Avery Bradshaw. I found out from Coach Deidre Soto, Avery unfortunately suffered a season-ending injury. So best of luck with her getting over that. Now on to the guys. Our number 3 star is Cesar Battistini of the Embry-Riddle soccer team. He recorded 2 goals and an assist in the Eagles' 3-0 triumph over Life Pacific last Saturday. The number 2 star is KMT, Kenny Miller-Terry of the Prescott football team. He had 225 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns in the Badgers' 42-26 loss to Coconino last Friday. And our number 1 star of the week is James Heffron of the Prescott football team. He had 3 touchdown passes in the Badgers' 30-13 victory over Flagstaff on Thursday. Congratulations to all our 3 stars of the week. Break time here in the Tri-City Sports Roundup. We'll be back right after this. We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here in the studio with me today. I've got Jezebel Rivas, Micah Gardner, and Mackenzie Wright from the Yavapai College volleyball team, and we're going to get right to it. And by the way, folks, just so you know, this week I flipped the coin, and I decided to be nice. So I told all three of them about lightning round. I'm not going to spring it on them as a surprise, so they've had time to think of their answers. So Jezebel, I'm starting with you. Who on the Yavapai College volleyball team would you say is the best dressed player? Who is the fashion plate of Yavapai?
I would say the best dressed player would be my roommate, Micah Gardner. She always putting on really good fits for class, and she really tries hard, and she looks cute.
Way to go, Micah. Congratulations. Now, Micah, let's go over to you here. Who would you say is the funniest player on the team? Who just keeps everyone in stitches?
Well, I'd have to say my roommate, Jezebel. It's definitely never, it's always something. And we're definitely always laughing when Jez is around. So
basically we've got the Mutual Admiration Society here across from me on the table here. Oh, boy. So, okay, so Mackenzie, over to you. Who would you say is the most serious player on Yavapai?
I would give it to our outside Morgan. In practice, there will be times where we can just tell the intensity of like what we're trying to do. And I don't hate on it at all because she loves the sport. She has passion for it, and she's really aiming for perfection. So we really have grace with her because she is very serious.
And that is Morgan Bro.
Yes.
Which I finally found out how to say her name on Wednesday, because her name is spelled Breault. And being a hockey fan, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, she's from Montreal, so we're talking French Canadians. Like, okay, like, looking at past hockey, I think it'd be Breault. And then I asked her, I was like, how do you say it? It's like, bro. Like, oh, okay, like, yo, bro, like that.
Yeah.
Sure, it came as a surprise to you, too, Mackenzie, when you looked at her name. It's like, oh, you pronounce it bro?
Yes. Like, we have, like, all of our names on our lockers, and, like, it'll be, like, Anouk. She has, like, two, like, a middle name and then, a really long last name. And then you go down the line. But I had no idea that's how you spell her last name.
Yeah, ditto here. All right, so Jezebel, who would you say is probably the most talkative player on Yavapai? You know, the kind of player I'm doing an interview with them, and it's like, will you hurry up? I don't have all darn night here.
I would say I'd have to give that to our middle, Destiny. You know, almost every huddle, she kind of gives us a little summary of what everybody said. It's great to hear, but also sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Destiny Matthews from Detroit Rock City. Yeah, look, I got my Kiss pen up here, too, so that's appropriate, isn't it? All right, so, Micah, who would you say on the opposite end? Who's the quietest player on the team? The player who, if I interviewed him, I'd be lucky to get 3 words out of him.
I would say the quietest player would be Valerie.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's coming out of her shell a little bit more, but she is a little bit on the younger side for our team, so she's definitely a little bit more in her shell. But she's starting to come out. We're starting to see a little bit more of her.
Yeah. That's Valerie Sabalza, who's actually from Columbia, who actually had a pretty good game Wednesday against Mesa College.
Yes,
got some
very
digs in there,
true.
got a couple of kills. Okay, so Mackenzie, who on Yavapai can eat the most in one sitting? Oh, boy. We're opening up a can of worms on this one. We'll eventually get to the answer here, folks.
I'm sorry.
Hopefully.
You're right. I'd give it to our middle, Destiny Matthews. She gets down. We all have our fair share of foods and stuff, but she gets down.
All right. Well, speaking of food, now, Mackenzie, here on your bio, always fun to go to these things, and I want to say embarrass the players, but they put them on the bio, so it's out there for all the public to see. So, you know, you asked for it. So, Mackenzie, you say on your bio that you have a passion for cooking and
Yes.
experimenting with new recipes.
That is
So how did
very
this
true.
passion develop for you?
My mom's not one who really cooks. So it's like for me it's fun because like I never really had that. And so also like my grandma does cook a lot. And so it's more we're from Texas, kind of south. So it's more like soul food and like southern style cooking. And it's just like it's something that I always appreciated in my life. So I like to do it when I can and experiment and have fun with it because like why not?
Okay, well now I have to ask, what kind of experiments do you do in the kitchen?
Okay. There was this one time it was like during COVID where we were like all bored and trying to do stuff, and I tried to do like the mug cake, like where you do it. Mind you, it was disgusting. I don't recommend. It was disgusting, but I like whipped it up in the mug and I put it in the microwave. Not necessarily baking, but still classified. Took it out, tried it. It was disgusting.
Oh.
But the thing is, we tried it,
Yeah.
and now we know.
Well, that's what happens with experiments. Sometimes they do good, and sometimes you wind up with a disgusting mess, I guess. But you don't know unless you try.
Right.
So there you go. And Jezebel, you also are into cooking as well. So what made you develop a love for cooking?
Honestly, I love Gordon Ramsay like TV shows. And then like my mom used to cook a lot, and my dad is a big cooker. So I just pretty much, I'm gonna start making myself food. But definitely Gordon Ramsay made that move right there.
Oh man, yeah. I've actually seen quite a few episodes of Kitchen Nightmares, and talk about just hilarious. In fact, we were talking about that before the show, and of course, I guess when you talk about Kitchen Nightmares, you got to bring up Amy's Baking Company. And Mike, I think you said you actually finally saw that episode this past week.
I did. I just watched it the other day, and I had it on, and Jez was overhearing. She was like, "What? That is crazy what these people are saying."
Oh, man. For those of you who have never seen that, if you only watch one episode of Kitchen Nightmares, watch Amy's Baking Company. It used to be a restaurant down in Scottsdale, and they had a reputation for really good desserts, really bad dinner, and the owner, Amy, being, what's the word I'm looking for here? Would psycho be the right word? I mean, I think they said like there was like about like in the span of a year, I think she fired like 70, 80, 100 employees or something like that. In fact, she was so bad, Gordon actually walked out on the restaurant. He's like, well, let me see if I can do the British accent that Gordon was like, I'm not having any of this. I'm out of here. Bye.
That's good.
Really?
That was good.
All right. Hey, got myself on the back on that one, man. Okay, so Jezebel, what is probably your favorite thing to make then?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Easy. Steak, mashed potatoes, and some sort of veggie.
What sort of veggie?
Like broccoli, asparagus, carrots.
Okay, I can do the carrots. Don't give me the broccoli. Don't give me that. I'm like Newman from Seinfeld. It's like, you wouldn't eat broccoli if it were deep fried in chocolate sauce. No offense, it's just I ain't into broccoli. And don't even get me started on coconut.
Oh, I don't like coconut either.
Yes. All right, kindred spirit right here, folks. For all you people who make fun of me when I say I hate coconut. Okay, so Micah, well, you don't have cooking on your bio,
No.
but you are a huge fan of puzzles. So how did you get into that?
Ever since I was little, my great grandma introduced me to puzzles when I was younger, maybe like 3 or 4. We'd do like cute little Princess and the Frog puzzles, like after church on Sundays. So I think my love for it just came from there, and ever since I've just been doing puzzles, any kind, Rubik's Cubes, all of it. I love them all. Any kind of like brain puzzle, anything that makes my brain kind of have to do some kind of exercise and just really make me think, I love. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, kind of nice to hear that people are still doing Rubik's Cubes because, I was like probably in middle school when Rubik's Cubes first came out, and like everybody had those things, even Rubik's Cube keychains, for crying out loud. Now, you were telling us before the show that you had, I guess, kind of a puzzle you were doing last night. I got a sort of puzzle. please explain to the audience.
So last night, Jezebel, her necklace was all tangled, and she was like, I tried so hard the other day, and I couldn't get it. I was like, let me try. And so I ended up staying up for some time.
Okay, that says sometime. What time did you say you finally went to bed when you were done with it?
I went to bed at about 2 a.m. Because the goal was to get it untangled, and every time I got a piece untangled, I just got more and more excited because I was close to finishing it. So I just had to finish it, and I couldn't go to bed until it was done. So
I think they have a name for that. I think it's called OCD.
And you know what the crazy thing was?
What?
When Jez handed her the necklace, it was in a ball like this. And I was like, and I thought it was like maybe a bracelet because that's how small it was.
Yeah, it was
And
very fine.
I asked her, I said, are you sure that she was like, that's a necklace? I was like, oh my gosh. Mike. And I'm proud of her. She did it.
Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes, man. So congratulations, Micah. That's definitely putting your mind to the task and seeing it through. Oh man. So Mackenzie, while Jezebel and Micah are Arizona natives, you actually come from Texas.
Yes.
You come from Arlington, and you did tell me, and this is the reason why she's still on the show. You did tell me that even though you're from Arlington, you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan.
That is true. I personally, I like basketball more than football. I love basketball, but it's really hard to bandwagon against with them because it's like y'all aren't winning and y'all haven't won in a long time, and it's a little bit embarrassing. But as every Texas person, they can do it. They got it.
So you're more a Dallas Mavericks fan, not a Cowboys.
Yeah, I like Dallas Mavericks, like the Warriors. I love Lakers. I love all of them. I love watching the Olympics. Sports has always been my thing. So
Okay. So Jezebel again. Now you hail from Goodyear. So being an Arizona Cardinals fan or not?
No. Definitely not the biggest football fan. I would say I kind of just join whatever my dad likes, but he likes the Raiders, so I kind of had to step back on that. Not gonna lie. Great stadium, but not so great team right now. But.
Yeah. Micah, you are also a definite no on Cardinals, right?
yeah, no.
So any other football team you root for or what?
No, if I'm going to be honest, I'm a universal bandwagon. Whichever team two teams are playing and whoever's winning, I'm rooting for. So if the Cardinals are winning that week, sure, but very rarely.
Well, I was going to say, usually you're rooting for them right up until the fourth quarter, and then that's when they blow it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So Mackenzie, what got you originally interested in playing volleyball?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so me and my dad, he was really big into sports, and that was kind of the one thing that kind of connected us in the beginning was volleyball. He started my first like YMCA team. He coached me, and then I ended up moving on to better things. But it was just like the one thing that kept us close.
All right. Jezebel, what got you into volleyball?
To be honest, my sister, I was doing gymnastics at the time. My sister started volleyball going into high school, and I was like, I can do that better than you. So that's what got me in. I'm very competitive.
All right. Micah, what about you?
I think for me, I tried all the sports because I just wanted to see what I was good at, and volleyball ended up being the one that I was decent at when I first started, but ended up being the one sport that my parents didn't have to force me to practice to be better. So it just kind of stuck, and here I am.
Okay. And, well, folks, actually, you can catch Yavapai Volleyball in action coming up next Friday and Saturday. You've got games against Central Arizona. That'll be over at Yavapai College. And actually, Central Arizona, pretty good team there. So, Mackenzie, what's it going to take to get the win over them?
Executing the game plan for sure. All of us coming in with the refusal to lose and owning our own responsibilities. Coach just had a talk with us last night about owning what you can own, and that's going to play a really big part in our success on that night.
All right. Well, folks, unfortunately, we're coming up to the end of the show here, but I definitely want to thank Jezebel Rivas, Micah Gardner, and Mackenzie Wright for joining us here on Tri-City Sports Roundup. Ladies, pleasure having you here, and best of luck the rest of the way in your season.
Thank you.
All right. Well, again, folks, we actually have college football coming up for you on the team 1450 AM KNOT, our sister sports station, coming up at high noon. Oh, boy, ASU going to be in for a challenge today. They've got number 7 Texas Tech on the agenda. Again, that will be on our sports station, the team 1450 AM KNOT, starting at noon. And Jezebel, looks like you're really interested in that one, huh?
Is the game here or in Texas?
I can't remember now.
I have no
I think
idea.
it's here. I think Texas is home next week.
ASU fans love them football games.
Yeah, yes, they do. And again, you can listen to it on the team, 1450 AM, KNOT. You also got more football on KYCA right here next week. Next Friday, we're back on the road. Another long road trip because we haven't had enough of those this year. First to Kingman, then to Bullhead City. Now we're going to be going down to Yonker High School next week, where the Badgers will be playing their next to last regular season game. Don't forget, on October 30th, yes, another Thursday game, the rivalry game to end the regular season, Prescott versus Bradshaw Mountain right here on KYCA. Folks, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Have yourselves a good one.